Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, yeah, is 2025 a write-off? Well, it is and it isn't, because we still have the fall left. I have actually been trying to get out and do some photography, but for the most part, the photography in the YouTube channel had to take a backseat to things that were completely out of my control. And there's still a lot of things going on that I have to take care of, but for the most part, the photography has to take a backseat. And the days that I can get out, they're not the greatest days, as I found out yesterday. I ended up going back up to Calabogie, and I went to the same place where I got this shot that's behind me. And I sort of wanted to go there again to try and get more long exposures and things. So there was a couple of factors why that didn't work out. Number one, the place was crowded. I couldn't even find a parking spot. I pulled in and I was just like, oh, I couldn't believe it. Because when my wife and I were there in early August, which was about 7 weeks ago, we had the place to ourselves. It was a beautiful summer's evening, beautiful sunset, and I love this shot. This shot, I think, is actually the best shot I got for 2025. So that was a write-off yesterday. When I noticed the parking lot was full, I thought, okay, well, let's go up to Eagle's Nest. And when I got there, same thing. Parking lot was jam-packed. There was people all over the place. And I was just, I didn't know what to do except go further down the road, because I knew of this other place that I had been to many times before in the 1980s, and it was back when I was so big on fishing. This lake that I went to, we called it Waba Green. I'll show it on Google Maps. I think it's called something else on Google Maps. I'm not sure. I'll show it when I post it. I had actually caught 2 3-pound rainbow trout out of this lake. I definitely want to go back. Like I mentioned in my last video when I was up at Green Lake, how I'm planning on purchasing a canoe. So I definitely want to take up fishing again. Might incorporate that into the YouTube channel somehow. When I got there yesterday to Waba Green, I actually took the wrong road and I ended up on this trail with my RAV4, which isn't actually made for off-roading, so I had to be pretty careful. And I ended up having to back out until I could find a place that I could turn around, and then got back on the main road, and the road was just a little bit further down that I had to turn down, and I actually found the lake. It was a long way in, longer than I remembered, and when I got there, the whole area has completely changed. The growth of the white pine trees is unbelievable, and it didn't look anything how I remembered. The top-down views from the satellite views looks like how I remembered it. I don't know how old those photographs are, but now it's completely changed. There's a boat launch there. Yeah, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful lake. I flew the drone to the other side of the lake, and I'll show the footage of me flying the drone there. But I actually ended up losing signal and had to get the drone turned around real fast. But yeah, it's a very deep lake. So I took 2 shots handheld, and I was actually joking to myself when I was up there, because I did a bit of a recording for YouTube because I thought maybe I was going to post it, and I was joking around how I'd have to put in a fake sky, because that's the other reason why yesterday was not a good day to go out and try and do landscape photography, because the sky was so blue, not a cloud in the sky. It was so overexposed. So it wasn't a good day, but it's one of those things where I don't have the luxury of planning things ahead very much, or if that's just me being whatever. I mean, that's part of my problem about photography is I don't plan things. I just spur of the moment think, hey, I'll go here and take some shots today, and or whatever, it's just not working out the way I want it to. The other thing that I have been doing, I recently purchased this. You're probably going to think I'm crazy. So this is the Nikkor MC105 2.8S. So you're probably thinking, why would I purchase another macro lens when I already have the Venus Lau 100 millimeter 2:1 ratio? The reason I purchased this lens was because of the autofocus capabilities. The reason I like that is because I can use the focus shift shooting feature on the Nikon Z7 II, and what that does is you can take you have to put your camera on a tripod and your subject has to be still, because focus stacking, if your subject isn't still, you're going to get artifacts when you try to put together like 5 to 10, 15 images. But with the focus shift shooting, what it does is when you're on the tripod and you start the focus shift shooting, you can take as many photographs as you want, and then you can take the best photos out of the set that you took and you can focus stack them. So I got this photograph here. So this was taken September 13th. This is an 8-image focus stack. I actually took 20 images, but I only used 8 of the images to do the focus stack. And this is a David Austin rose that we have growing in the backyard. And then I have some other shots here that I've taken with this lens. This is Virginia Creeper. This is Wild Astris, I think. And I got these shots of these berries. It's not as good as the shot of the berries I took with the Nikon D7200. But with this lens, the autofocus was just turned out really good. Because the photograph of the berries in 2023, I think it was, with the Nikon D7200, I actually took that with my Sigma 10 to 20 millimeter wide angle lens with the tripod on the ground, and I really like the way that shot took out. I'll show that here now as well. Here it is here. So I really like this shot. But with this new lens, I took this shot here of this fungus growing out of this stump, and then I converted it to black and white. It's got a very abstract look to it, and kind of like that. That day that I was actually out in that local woodland, I was actually looking for mushrooms, because I got this one shot before with the Nikon 40 millimeter macro lens that I use on the D7200, and it was of the mushroom growing out the side of a trunk. I'll show that here now. So I'm actually hoping with this lens to get more shots like this. For the landscape portion of my photography, I just haven't had a chance to get out. The chances I do get to go out, it's not the greatest weather, like yesterday, completely overexposed because of the blue sky and no clouds at all. Haven't had a chance to do any sunsets. I might have a few that I've done, but with the Venus Lau lens, I've gotten out and in the backyard, and I have a shot here. I don't know if I can find it. I didn't post these on YouTube. So there's this one here, this photograph of a fly. I liked how I got the eye in focus. This shot here of a Japanese beetle. This nymph. This was a really cool looking bug. Lots of color. I really didn't edit it that much. That's actually the natural color of this. So yeah, that turned out really cool as well. And that was from July 8th of this year. So yeah, when I got the Venus Lau lens, I was so fascinated by the shots that I were getting, especially the jumping spiders. It's definitely a challenge getting those shots because it's a manual lens. It doesn't have the autofocus at all. So you can't use the feature for focus shift shooting because of that. But with this new macro lens, I can do that. I can do the focus shift shooting. But the one thing you can do in manual to help you with your macro photography is you can use focus peaking on the Z7 II. Focus peaking is when you manually focus in on your subject. When you have focus peaking enabled, you can pick the colors you want, either red, blue, yellow, or white, I think. So whatever color you choose, like I go with red most of the time, area of your subject that's in focus, it'll highlight it in red. So it's a really cool feature. Definitely ensures that you're getting your image in focus. But one of the problems I find with the Venus Lau lens is because, how can I explain it? If you use a lower aperture where it's really wide open and it's letting more light in, the problem with that is your depth of field is really shallow. Whereas if you go with a higher aperture, like say f8 and above, your depth of field increases, more if your subject is going to be in focus. And that's important with that lens, because to be able to get everything in focus, to do a focus stack, you actually have to move the lens forward a bit. So, and when you're doing it in a burst, so a burst photography where you hold the shutter down and it just continually keeps taking I think you can have it, I think with the Nikon you can do it 10 images per second. The flash has to be in sync. I think I've talked about this before, but the whole point is to try and do a focus stack with that lens, you have to be moving forward, and that's with the lens, the Venus Lau 100 millimeter. It's a 2-to-1 ratio, so you can be further away and get a really close image of your subject. It's some of the images are really mind-blowing, especially so I find, I'm trying not to make this confusing. I'm finding the best way I can take photographs with that camera is to have my aperture set between f8 and f13. You may have to bump up the ISO if you're doing that. I've watched this other guy on YouTube, and he's very good at capturing the images where he's moving in and doing the burst photography. He's focus stacking literally like 40 plus images, and I just tried to do that. There's this other focus stacking software. I've talked about it in the past. I didn't purchase it. And it's there's a lot involved in stacking your images with that. And I just find it's a lot of work. I might purchase it later on. I might try and do that, but for the most part, to get the one image really quick, just go with a higher aperture, and then you don't have to focus stack. If you're focusing in on the area that you really want to have prominent in your photograph, that's the best bet. You can try and move forward a little bit. You can try and focus stack some of your images. I have focus stacked successfully some of my images that I've taken with the Venus Lau, but for the most part it's very hard. And I'm using On1 Photo Raw 2024, and it's not the greatest for focus stacking, but it works. Anyways, I'm going to end it there. Hopefully I'm going to get out and get some more fall colors. We are hoping to maybe next weekend get up to Mill of Quintal. I've been there many times in the past, but I want to see if I can get there when the colors are really at their peak, because I seem to miss it every year. And it's like I talked last year, how I wanted to get up to Mont Sainte Marie and capture the fall colors there because of the mountains and everything. It would look really cool. I did find a place that I do want to go to, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that this year. I just pressed for time, and just don't have the time to get up there. Okay guys, hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Talk to you later. Bye for now.